right down the street from me, Ashburn, Virginia, paid $470 million for a data center campus that they're going to build. They got the rights. They're going to still have the campus, certain parts of it for up to 5 years, but they're going to build. Do you know how profitable they're expecting to be if they can pay $470 million for the land alone on what they're going to do in this area and the income that's coming here to Loudoun County and the DMV? And so that's one of the things that I love to focus on the DMV and help investors there in this area, just because there's a lot that's going on right now and a lot of things that are happening with your capital that you need to be cognizant of and you need to be aware of that's happening. So here most recently, I would say down in Manassas part of Fairfax County, I wrote this article last week that really highlighted what was going on with this warehouse that was recently purchased here, and talking about this deal here that happened where they paid $12.5 million for a warehouse, but they're building 300 apartment units there. Talking about Manassas Park Industrial, and they're going to do a conversion from industrial to residential coming up here with the business plan. And so we'll walk through this article. Of course, it's there on LinkedIn and kind of diving in. But this is where we're having the conversations about what the smart capital is doing in 2026. So RST Development was a Virginia Beach-based multifamily firm. They just acquired the Connor Commerce Center in Manassas Park, Virginia, fully leased, 70,000 square foot of industrial space, nearly 7 acres. So right off Route 28, Highway 28, about 30 miles southwest of Washington, D.C. is where you guys are at. The previous owner, they bought the same property about a decade ago for just over $8 million. They walked away with a healthy gain. So, hey, they bought it for 8, sit on it 10 years, get some cash flow, depreciation, and now you sell it for $4.5 million more 10 years later. So not a bad deal at all. And so they walked away with a healthy gain. But RST walked in with a vision, and that's the game. And the thing that a lot of investors miss on the transaction, that they see the outside, but a lot of times us as real estate investors and investors in general, we have to see the future. We have to have a vision. And that's where we talk about that plan. You have to have a plan. And so here's the part that stopped me when I was researching this deal. The property sits inside Manassas Park City Center Redevelopment District. That's the thing. That's the entire thesis on the location. We say in real estate, location, location, location. And the district was specifically designed to convert underutilized commercial land into a vibrant mixed-use hub, housing, retail, office, and it comes with tax incentives for qualifying projects. Got to have those tax incentives, especially today with the development costs. But here's what makes this even sharper. So right across the street sits the shops at City Center. You have apartments, you have restaurants, retail, public library, city hall, completely, a self-sufficient area, pedestrian first development, already built, fully operational right there across the street. And the Manassas Park VRE commuter rail station is right there down the street, a direct line into DC's metro corridor. So for RST, this isn't gambling. It's not, a big risky deal. They're threading the needle. Infrastructure already is in place, the transit access, tax incentives, and a documented housing demand gap, all on land that was previously leased to a wholesale importer, auto dealer, and an insurance office. That's what was on site when they bought it. So when you kind of zoom out and look at the macro picture, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. National Association of Realtors, they estimated the U.S. housing shortage of approximately 5.5 million units heading into 2025. Northern Virginia is one of the hardest hit markets in the country right now. Federal employment, defense contracting, the tech sector. We just talked about the big Amazon deal that happened in our backyard with the acquisition they did there for the George Washington campus out here in Ashburn. But then federal employment, defense contracting on top of all that there's a tremendous amount of growth that's happening right now in the region, driving populations. I know when I was working in my last duty station, National Reconnaissance Office, I had people that were working for me that were living in West Virginia and commuting into the building in Chantilly just because, they couldn't find affordable housing in the area. So we all know housing, and especially affordable housing, is at a premium here in the market. But the thing is, residential construction has definitely not kept pace at all in the market. And so that creates the supply and demand imbalance that exactly the environment where this industrial residential conversion stops being a creative and, a deal that's just sitting there on top of on paper, but now it comes into reality. And the rational reposition strategy available to well-capitalized operators. And I think when you look at the math, they pay roughly $1.86 million per acre. Comparable residential and title land in DC suburbs right now is regularly trading at meaningful premiums way above that number, especially when you come back into Lynum and you start looking at the best use of land and where the data centers, what they're paying, that they got it for real cheap. But the big play is acquiring at the industrial pricing, navigate the entitlement, the rezoning process, and emerge with a residential asset priced for the market. So that's not luck at all. It's a disciplined operator who understands rezoning dynamics, that followed the infrastructure, followed the incentives, and had the capital and conviction to execute before it was all obvious. So you can kind of see here that they're playing at a different level. But this is where you want to look at, how can I participate in that? Are there private placement opportunities where I can invest in this company, where I can have my money going into this new 300-unit apartment building going to Manassas Park that's going to be leased up? What does that look like? And that's the conversations that we're having, on how you can diversify and place capital in these type of private placements if you're a accredited investor. And so that's one of the things that I love to educate and dive into, because it's extremely important right now when you start talking about diversification, when you start seeing the roller coaster ride that's happening in the market and what that means to you. So at the end of the day, it's definitely not luck. It's a disciplined operator who understands rezoning dynamics. They followed the infrastructure and now they're running with it. But the big takeaway, the opportunity is already priced in. The edge is always in seeing what's coming before everyone else sees it. And that's why you must have a plan. You got to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. That's right. You took the words right out of my mouth. And so that's the thing. Whether you're an active real estate investor, a veteran building a portfolio, or a family trying to understand where to position capital in an uncertain economy, this deal is your case study. It's showing that money is moving in the right areas, but if you don't know, you don't know. And so follow the incentives. Don't wait for the headline. But that's all I got for you guys today. So I definitely appreciate you guys diving in. Send me a DM on some other topics you guys want me to dive into that'll be important to you. And really going, because guess what? Right now, what the economy is telling us, that, a $12.5 million deal in Manassas Park, that the smart money is moving in 2026. It's not on the sidelines. People are taking action and moving the deals. I know one of the partners that we are sponsors that we have deals with for our accredited investors right now just bought a huge deal out in Pflugerville, Texas, right outside Austin. I'm going to do a post on it. I was up in New York City for spring break last week for the kids. And I was able to go over to New Jersey for one of the DST sponsors that we work with for one of their 300-plus unit apartments that they built here recently in the last couple of years, and just they're raising capital for with one of the Delaware statutory trusts for those doing the 1031s. And so I was able to walk the property at least on the outside. I didn't even go on the inside. But it was really cool to kind of see some of the assets that we're seeing come across the desk in real life, in person. So if you're in the DMV or anywhere in the country and you're ready to have a real conversation about your financial picture, what you should be doing, your wealth plan, or your real estate strategy, definitely reach out. Let's talk. The link's in my bio, as always, on LinkedIn. Check us out there. You can also grab a copy of the book, The Financial Security Blueprint. Leave me a review on Google, and let me know what you think about the book and the framework that I use. It's all in there. That's what it's there for, to give you guys the framework on what you need to be doing to build well. I'm Johnny Lynum, the military CEO. Thanks for being here today, and let's go build.